Hey guys, this is East Dragon. Welcome back to another episode of Bloons TD Battles Mobile. So here, I'm just gonna go ahead and show my strategy. It's sort of updated. I have better information on it now. The video is just gonna show a little bit more about the strategy. It's not a billion clips of examples, so I'll probably do that in the future, but that'll take a very long time. So my usual strategy, if it's a big water map, I'll use monkey sub. If it's a land map like this, I'll use dart monkey, and then you have the option of balloon chipper, which is infinite late game, or like bomb tower and super monkey for pretty much late game. So the first thing I like to do is to get two dart monkeys, and I usually start placing around 18 seconds. Doesn't have to be exact, but the idea is you're trying to get the round to start as late as possible. So here you just start spamming the eco, just keep sending red balloons. There's absolutely no like layering or layering for rushes going on. It's just pure economy. So round 3 you want to have both of these upgraded one path to the right. So that's 0, 1. And that should be good enough to hold off for round 3. Round 4 should start around like a minute 3 or a minute 4 or something. And there, if your opponent starts sending pinks, you can upgrade both of these to 0, 3. And if you place them in a good spot, you should be able to hold off pretty well. And even if you leak a few lives, it's not a huge deal because it's a few lives and they're wasting their money really if they're trying to knock off like 10 lives off of you. For round 6, if they're still not sending balloons like this person here, you just want to get another dart monkey, a third dart monkey, and you might want to upgrade that to 0, 1 as well. Um, This is a very greedy strategy. If your opponent doesn't rush, you're almost guaranteed to be invincible if you have the right tower loadouts as well. That's another thing you have to consider. Round 6, you don't really have to upgrade anything. If they're still not sending balloons, you can go ahead and be greedy and keep sending greens. If they start sending, you want to get one of them up to 0, 3 and then just keep moving up the line. For round 7, you want to start upgrading these guys because you don't want to be too greedy for round 8, which is the classic yellow rush round. So what I like to do is buy one upgrade, then spend the rest of my money as much eco as I can. Then just keep doing that. Here I'm being a little greedy and buying the cheaper upgrades first before I get triple darts because this guy really doesn't seem like he's rushing. Um, it's overall, I say the strategy's pretty bad, but it's just the strategy I use for the average person who doesn't rush like round 13 or round 8 or stuff. This will not be ready for round 13, so if you're gearing up for a round 13 rush, I recommend just like having a tack shooter and using Blade Maelstrom if you really need to. Or you could do what I have here and have a sniper, but it's not really great. You're not going to have enough time to get the money unless your eco is pretty high. So I usually net around 600 eco when there's no anti-stalling, and I'll explain anti-stalling probably in another episode. That's just basically trying to pop the balloons as soon as possible to get the rounds as short as possible. So round 10, you want to try to get some lead defense. Sometimes I run Dart Monkey, Bomb Tower, and Super Monkey, so I can just buy a Bomb Tower if he decides to send leads, because getting a Juggernaut is pretty expensive. Round 13, GG, if you sent a Regal Rabel Rush, I'd be dead, even with Monkey Boost. So you can kind of see how bad the strategy is. For round 13, it's not really about round 13 or anything. If they're not rushing, I just send eco spam. I don't know, I had no clue why the video is lagging so bad while I'm doing this. I'm using Windows Live Movie Maker for the first time to try to like overlay narration because while I was talking during the video for the actual recording, apparently I didn't have the audio recording, so I have to record the audio manually. I really think I should just overlay with, record a separate audio file and then overlay it, because this is way too laggy. I don't know if the video is gonna end up laggy like this, but anyways, you just keep building up your eco. This defense is totally not fine for ceramics. You can get more dart monkeys as you wish. But for round 8, right now my eco is really far behind. I'll explain in the next battle more about that eco, what eco landmarks kind of you should be looking at. Round 18, you should cut your economy at. You should have about at least 1,000. If you don't have at least 1,000, you're in trouble for round 20, because the entire purpose of using Dart Monkeys is to use Super Funky Man Club. It's actually called Super Monkey Fan Club, but you know what happens when you watch YouTube videos. So before round 20, you want to get your 10 Dart Monkeys. Since the most recent update, Super Monkey Fan Club only works with regular dart monkeys, up to 10 dart monkeys, not juggernauts or spikapults. So mind here, this strategy kind of requires a little bit of micro, which is just like doing a lot of things quickly. So for round 20, you should have 8,000 bucks. I don't. It doesn't really matter if you're like a few dollars short. You get Super Monkey Fan Club, and here you just greedy with eco. Whenever you need it, you just use it, the ability, and all these turn to super monkeys and fire super duper fast for a long time. And usually what I like to do is just start building my defense, so to stay in buy one upgrade and then spend the rest of eco. It's like here, the balloons are getting kind of far, so I use the ability. And now you just spam eco, you don't do any upgrading because you're fine up until then. I just kind of do it here in case you want to be more safe after the fan club runs out. And basically what you're doing is, the more greedy the better, because farms always beats economy in the early game. It's late game where economy rules. So depending on how good the opponent is with rushing and such, that will determine your eco basically. So it's really player dependent. Here the balloons are getting kind of far, and I just wait till the last second to use Super Monkey Fan Club. And so here you just keep on going with the eco. The more eco, the better. If you really want to be greedy, you can just spend everything on eco and not buy any upgrades at all. I don't exactly recommend that. That's being super greedy. And another thing to note is when your Super Monkey Fan Club runs out, just make sure to not spend the next wave of eco too quickly, because they can exploit that, rush you then, and then you have to wait 6 seconds to get to your next Super Funky Man Club. By which time it might be too late, so you have to watch out for that. And I have a perfect example of that here in this battle. So there, my eco is looking pretty good. Right around 23. There's the almighty infamous, people usually send the ZOMG at like round 22, and then it eventually gets here by like round 23. You should be fine against one ZOMG. You should be able to take it down. If you want to, you can use Monkey Boost if it's a short map. Really short maps though, you won't be able to do it. But the best part about Super Monkey Fan Club is just the firepower. It's so great. Here I'm racking up almost 2,500 eco here, which is pretty good. I might want to talk about the numbers right now. You can also get some juggernauts to help with ceramic popping power. And here you see I failed with the buying Super Monkey Fan Club. I bought the juggernaut and spent the eco, and then I didn't have any money, so I couldn't buy it. So I had to sell a bunch of things, and I was panicking, and I didn't get it in time. And this guy was going to lose in like a half a second later. So it was like that kind of sucked. But that's what happens if you don't manage your eco very well. A game, I really feel like I should show a guide for every single map, but there's quite a few maps, and some I really think I should do that though. So here we have cards. Usual Dart Monkey here, Bloon Chipper for super late game. If you really want to, you can do Dart Monkey, Bomb Tower, and Super Monkey. I don't recommend it though. You're not very safe early game against camel rushes if they're smart enough. Double cluster bombs, which are basically 3-0 bomb towers, should and some juggernauts. Ones like strong should be good enough for round 13 rushes, but yeah. Here, it also really depends on where you want to place your dart monkey. Sometimes you can just place a second dart monkey here too. It doesn't really matter. I just like to have them kind of spread out to make sure, like, in case there's regrow balloons, so they don't just get to regrow all day long as they run around. Here's it's running farms again, which isn't. This is kind of like the farm pressure strategy because they'll still be able to get up a decent amount of farm eco, but it's yeah. So first benchmark here for before round four, you should have 300 eco. Um, Pro tips. Okay, sort of pro tips. Eco comes in every 6 seconds. So like say once you get your eco, then you just stop sending. I didn't do it there. Such a great example, but you just cut your eco. It's just to get a little more edge on your eco. So then you just start spamming the blues, and the blues come out faster. So you don't have to do it, but it just gives you a little extra eco. It kind of builds up in the early rounds. Round 4 is still not sending any pinks or anything, so I'm totally fine to just sit around, chill around with my 0-1 dart monkeys. Anti-stalling is a huge problem with this strategy. If people are anti-stalling, do not use this strategy. But the problem with that is that you're basically already committed to the strategy, so you can't really do that. Round 6, you should have at least 400 eco. I didn't get it there, so there's anti-stalling happening. True, absolutely stalling, you'll have like around 420 eco. That's the super good scenario where your opponent does not rush at all and they're not doing this. Round 8 is just the standard buy one upgrade. So usually when there's anti-stalling happening, you'll just be reaching 500 eco around this point. Like maybe just like right now, you'd reach 500 eco, which is pretty bad. But round 8 rushes are always pretty deadly. You can boost if you need to. I mean, you have 3, and you're not going to be using it super late game because you have Bloon Chippers if you're loading those out. Here I have a decent eco, but a terrible defense. I decided to be really greedy here and just not upgrade the Dart Monkey. It's a terrible idea to just not have 3-0-3 Dart Monkeys by round 8. You can't defend yellows, and you don't want to have to use your precious money later to go get it. Here I could just be a little. I just went a little more greedy and sent one into round 9, which is optional. You'll get a little more money if you don't in the short term, but long term you'll get more money. So I was just being greedy. Round 10, he didn't send any leads, and if he did, I have my bomb tower here, trusty bomb tower. Once again, not ready for round 13. That's kind of the usual trend here. That's why Blade Maelstrom's so useful. I should totally show this one game that I had on cards where this person just kept sending regrow rainbows in really small groups, so I had to spam Blade Maelstrom. Ended up winning the game. I just used Blade Maelstrom for everything, popping Moabs and everything. It was kind of funny how I managed to still win, and I was also rushing him at the same time. And that was because of my eco. I was able to do it because of my eco. And here we go, round 13. I'm clearly not ready for Regrow Rainbow Rush or even a little Regrow Zebra. Pro tip for anyone who likes to rush: just send a few balloons like Regrow Zebras until they boost, and just stop sending. And when their boost ends, just like if you really want to, just sell everything and go all in once their boost expired. And usually they won't be able to defend it because they've used their boost, and a lot of defenses require the boost to defend. I don't understand those people that just like go all in, even though you boost and they can clearly see on their side that you're easily defending it with the boost. I don't know why they keep sending it. And then there's those people that don't send regrow, they just send regular stuff, so I don't know. Anyways, by round 17 is coming up pretty soon, and that's the like point where you're gonna come close to having to stop your eco. This is absolutely not a good defense still for round 13 for the Regal Rainbows and such. But people don't seem to rush after round 13. If it's not round 13 or 14, they just stop rushing. I have no idea why. But you at least want to get 1000 eco. Benchmark here is if you're around 1200 or 1300 eco if you're super greedy. And there's full stalling, you'll be able to easily afford Super Monkey Fan Club for around 20, and a lot of people just don't know about that, the Super Monkey Fan Club, and they send a BFB, and then it's easily destroyed by Super Monkey Fan Club. So here you just get your normal 10 dart monkeys. On cards I usually like to do it like this, just because they get to shoot basically all around most of the map. And here you can just do a little more math to get more out of your money. I didn't do it exactly there, but also leads are always a problem around 19. You might want to put your Juggernaut on strong to pop those leads early. Here I'm just doing a bit of math here to make sure I can get the most out of my eco. And now I just start upgrading here. You really don't have to start upgrading, or once you get to about like 1500 eco, you could do something like just buying a 3-2 dart monkey, or just like, I mean 2-3 dart monkey, just off the bat and spend everything eco. That's the less greedy strategy. The greedy strategy is just not buying any upgrades at all and just going all in eco. Here I didn't really need to activate Super Monkey Fan Club, but I just did it because sometimes I'm a little lenient with not using Super Monkey Fan Club, and then it's actually a bunch of balloons layered on top of each other, but I can't see that, and then they just all go through, and all my lives are gone. It's like, what? But yeah, well, there's a lot of things with the strat. It's very adaptable though. You're always gonna use. I might want to show in another episode using monkey subs, probably on Battle Park because it's the easiest to show. But it's not a good representation of how bad my strategy is. Like on Yin Yang, it's terrible. I just can't. I don't know a good strategy for Yin Yang here. It's it's really a weird map. It's really hard to defend the whole map, especially against Regal rushes. So I have no idea. This guy just got a monkey banana farm, banana farm, no banana factory, and he doesn't really have a good defense though. He should really just get that money he gets from his factory at Super Monkey Fan Club, but in this game he just didn't do it. I don't know why. But I'm just here chilling with Eco. Really from here on out, it's really dependent on how greedy you are. If you do really well, you can get 5,000 eco for round 30, which is absolutely insane for the general matches where people rush you. So around 3,500 eco, you're pretty much invincible, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. So here, you can get some Juggernauts. That's what I'm doing. Once you get around like 2,000 or 2,500 eco or something, you can start getting Juggernauts and still have some eco after buying the Juggernaut upgrade to send some eco. So it's a very greedy strategy. Here from out, you'll towards like 2,300, 2,400, you'll be able to send constant pinks. And this is where, when you're doing the super greedy strategy, this is where you start upgrading, because you can keep sending and have leftover money that you can't use for eco. So you use that leftover money for getting the upgrades. So this way you get the most out of your eco that you possibly can. But that's being super greedy, and if you do that, you usually have to buy and resell. Buy and sell and rebuy. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but sell and rebuy Super Monkey Fan Club more, which wastes quite a bit of money. But usually, what I do is I just wait. I don't rebuy automatically. I just see if I can get it to recharge before then. But here, I just didn't want to risk it. I probably could have held it, but I knew there was Regal Rainbows also as well, and I figured I might as well have it. Round 27 is the first Moab, so first few Moabs. So what I usually do here is I just wait. I buy another Super Monkey Fan Club. That's what I do. Uh, if you want to be not have to buy and resell Super Monkey Fan Club, you can just get three, and you can basically have infinite Super Monkey Fan Clubs. Note that you don't always have to use it when Moabs come by. It's just every time it's round 27, you usually have to use it. But you should be able to handle single Moabs or two Moabs really close together without using Super Monkey Fan Club if you have your Dart Monkeys in good spots. Here I'm just getting more Juggernauts to help with destroying ceramics. You really don't have to do this. You can get a bomb tower or whatever else you have. There's very few towers that you can use in this strategy for it to be effective. Here's a list. For land maps, you always go. The first one's always going to be either Dart Monkeys or Monkey Subs, depending on the map. Here you can see it was getting a little too far, the ceramics, so the Moabs were, so I just decided to use it. Usually on longer maps you can handle it. But the first next round you want to look at is round 32, is where there's a bunch of ceramics grouped together. So there you want to get something like a 4-2 cannon, a couple 4-2 cannons, at least maybe two, and or a super ton of juggernauts. That will also get the job done, but it's a little riskier, and you want to have a Super Monkey Fan Club for that. But yeah, as I was talking about the towers, you can use Bomb Tower. If you use Bomb Tower, you automatically have to use Super Monkey for late game, because you cannot super late game. Or if you could go Bomb Tower and Blue Chipper like I did here, it's another option, but there's a lot more lag late game. And if you can't handle lag, then I recommend just Bomb Tower and Super Monkey Fan Club. Bomb Tower and Super Monkey. Here's the super crazy ceramics. Here, I just got an Apache Dart ship. But you can kind of see that if I had more Juggernauts, I could have handled it. Another tower you can consider is the Sniper Monkey. It's great for pretty much all of the game. If you get a 2-3 sniper, you can handle Regal Rainbow rushes so easily. But sometimes I always forget to get a lead defense, and then people send like Regal leads. And I usually don't have 2-3 by then, I usually have 2-2. So then I get wrecked to Regal leads. And a problem with snipers though is that if you don't have 2-3, then you start popping those Regal Rainbows, and then terrible things happen. So that's a little risky. But if you hide it like up here, or if you're not playing on this side up here, usually your opponent falls for it, and they're like, how are they defending this? They're hacking. No, you're not. It's just called exploiting the HUD. So that's another thing to consider. There's not really much variety with the strategy. If you want to go infinite late game, you just use Bloon Trippers. You do have to be able to maintain no lag setting though, or minimal, just like enough, not so much lag that you can't use the abilities. That's a huge problem I find with using Bloon Tripper. Is sure you could technically just only use Bloon Trippers, but it's not a nice idea. Usually, I just get lazy with eco, and I just stop around 5,000, because that's really all you need. You don't need any more than that. Just replacing there so I can fit another heli pilot in this, to the left of where I just placed it. And what else should I talk about? Yeah, tower selection is very limited. That's the only thing with the strat. Your fourth tower is just whatever you get. If it's something like heli pilot, it's kind of nice for early late game. But yeah, I'm pretty much set here. There's nothing he can do against me. And I'll go back to what I was said earlier that I kind of just forgot about. Why you're pretty much invincible at 3500 eco. So if you're sending constant eco, but round in those late round 20s, don't buy 3 of these. You only want to get 2. The reason why is when you don't buy 3, you have about 15,000 bucks or so, and you just can keep sending eco. And then, so if they decide to rush you, you buy Supervac, just 04, use it, and then when the ability expires, you sell that and rebuy. And with 3,500 eco, you can do that forever. So that's kind of why you can pretty much do it forever. You'd really have to buy and resell so many times super fast for anything to happen. So that's why you're invincible, and you can defend an infinite amount of whatever you send. OMGs, BFBs, Moabs, just no matter what he does, you just super back. And you can just use your Super Monkey Fan Club when you get it. So it's really overpowered. I've destroyed so many people for, they just like sell everything. Super big rushes, and they can't do anything. They just watch me super vac and defend it after a few rounds. Next round you want to pay attention to is round 40. That's where there's a billion tons of Riga Rainbows throughout the entire round with a ton of BFBs and such. So I'm pretty much set here, though. I don't really have to be concerned because I have Apache Dart ships. If you have Supervac, you can also use that, but I prefer not to. And in case you're wondering, 5 Supervacs is the general minimum for infinite Supervac. I generally recommend to have at least 8 or so, in case you accidentally double tap or something. You don't have to worry about buying another one, you already have them. And ideally you want to place them in locations where they can suck up stuff for most of the map. So here on cards, this center area is really nice. And the best thing about Bloons shippers out there, they barely take, they're, I think, one of the towers that takes up the fewest pixels in the game. So you can fit tons of them if you want to get like 4 to Bloons shippers to stall out a little more. Even though they kind of nerfed them, they're still good. You can't just use those anymore. You have to use Supervac now. But yeah, from here on out, you're basically invincible. You can just save up a ton of money and rush people if you want. Even if they survive the rush, you technically still can survive by just using Supervac. And theoretically, you could go on forever if you had the time and it wasn't lagging so much that you couldn't use it. But now the strategy is invincible once you get like 3,500 eco. Just for the people who may or may not just end up facing me, but you probably won't know if you're facing me because my name is Player. In case, the exploits to the strategy are basically, let's see, number 1, round 13 rushes. Usually I will not be ready. Recently though, I've been carrying attack shooter, so I'll just blade Maelstrom. But then you can exploit and send camo Riga Rainbows, but that's a lot more expensive, so I can usually defend those a lot easier. So it's actually pretty nice. Huge exploit though is round 22, sending at 3 or 4 fast cooldown BFBs will be enough to take me out. Even with Monkey Boost, I will not be able to. You cannot defeat those rushes with just Super Monkey Fan Club. That's another issue with the strategy. So, I don't know, if you can get up even if you can get up a Supervac by then, which usually you can, you won't be able to sustain it. So, that's the problem. You'll have to basically sell off everything, and eventually you'll lose. So, that's round 22 is basically the threshold for losing. Or around 23 even. Because this strategy can handle OMGs, believe it or not. And this person's about to lose here, so GG. And that's going to be it for this episode. As always, thanks for watching. This is East Dragon. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.